It was lie upon misrepresentation upon lie here.
Yes, yeah, at every level. It was quite a scheme.
Very well thought out.
It was absolutely genius. It was wrong, but it was genius.
Patty Nixon is talking about the drug company she used to work for, Insys Therapeutics. Insys makes the painkiller Subsys, a fast-acting spray form of the opioid fentanyl. It's 100 times more powerful than morphine.
This is very serious. People have died. People have been hurt.
In just 5 years, Insys has sold almost $1 billion worth of the drug. Patty says by deceiving insurance companies and putting people's lives at risk. She knows because she did it herself. And she's told a federal grand jury the story she's telling us in her first network interview tonight.
What I did, I was instructed to do, I was trained to do. If I didn't do it, I was going to be in trouble. And I'm trying to make it right.
How devastating has this been to your life, this Subsys?
Well, it destroyed it, right?
Jeff Buchalter came home from the Iraq War with injuries sustained in multiple IED explosions. After trying other painkillers, his new doctor prescribed Subsys.
Yeah, be prepared.
Oh my goodness, wow.
He still has some of the boxes. In all, his insurance company paid nearly $1 million for the drug.
So you put it under your tongue?
Yeah, and it creates an aerosol.
He says Subsys took away his pain, but it also took him away from his wife and children. He'd become a barely functioning drug addict.
That corner over there was, I guess, the devil's den. I just sat there with my boxes and just zoned out into the TV, and that was it.
Jeff's doctor kept him on the drug for 3 years, prescribing higher and higher doses. Jeff admits he sometimes took a little extra.
It was controlling you.
Yeah, everything was about the next dose.
Every day.
Dr. Andrew Kolodny is a leading addiction expert and directs opioid policy research at Brandeis University. He says a drug like Subsys is both highly addictive and dangerous, particularly at the highest strength.
That product is almost like a lethal weapon. You could kill somebody with one squirt.
Subsys is the only product sold by Insys. It's an Arizona-based company founded by a pharmaceutical entrepreneur, Dr. John Kapoor. That's him in the middle. Forbes lists him as one of the wealthiest people in America.
That product that we launched 3 years ago, this year will do close to $300 million.
How did Insys make so much money? The drug has a very narrow FDA approval, just for cancer patients with pain that can't be relieved by other narcotics, what's called breakthrough cancer pain.
If you're a drug company looking for profit, you're not going to do very well with an opioid medicine that's only prescribed to patients with breakthrough cancer pain.
Because there just isn't enough of them?
That's right.
So when you hear hundreds of millions of dollars of Subsys sold in a single year, you think what?
That suggests that the company was illegally marketing the drug. They were getting doctors to prescribe the drug for conditions where it should not have been used.
Jeff, of course, didn't have cancer, and Patty Nixon says most of the patients she knows about didn't either. She found herself part of an elaborate scheme to push the drug on people who never should have had it.
My job responsibilities were to contact insurance companies on behalf of the patients and the doctors to get the medication approved and paid for by their insurance company.
Because it's expensive.
It's extremely expensive. It can go anywhere from $3,000 to $30,000 per 30-day supply.
To get insurance companies to pay those high prices, Insys told doctors not to worry, their employees like Patty would handle it. Patty says handling it meant spinning lies. This woman was her boss, Elizabeth Guerreri, as seen on her Facebook page. Patty says Guerreri told her this.
Do whatever you have to do. Just get it done. I don't care what you do.
Was that the instruction?
Yes.
Do whatever you have to do.
Do whatever you have to do.
That included, according to Patty, tricking insurers into believing the drug was medically necessary.
I would say, hi, this is Patty. I'm calling from Dr. Smith's office. I'm calling to request prior authorization for a medication called Subsys.
They thought you were calling from the doctor's office.
Yes, because that's what I told them, because that's what I was trained to tell them.
She says Guerreri also taught her and her co-workers other illegal tactics.
She told me, use this diagnosis code, which was 787.20. That's a diagnosis code for dysphagia, difficulty swallowing.
So let me make sure I understand. Your supervisor told you, regardless of whether the patient can indeed swallow, put this diagnosis code on the form saying that the patient can't swallow, hence the need for a spray under the tongue.
Correct.
And you'll get the patient approved.
Correct.
Which is
Absolutely.
lying.
Absolutely. It was a complete bold-faced lie.
To get a surefire approval, Patty says she'd sometimes just claim the patient had cancer. Also illegal.
It was all corrupt. It was all corrupt, and it was all for profit.
Sarah Fuller didn't have cancer. She was plagued with chronic neck and back pain from 2 car accidents. But her doctor, Vivian Madelon, actually brought an incest sales rep to an appointment. Her father, Dave, was there.
So they set up the appointment for her to meet with her, and I came with her. She told us about the medication.
This is the
sales
drug
rep.
company
Right, the sales
representative.
rep. Yes. They said it was for chronic pain.
Bringing a drug rep into the room with a patient, I've never heard of that before.
Unethical?
Beyond unethical, completely inappropriate.
Like Jeff, Sarah's doctor quickly increased her dose of the fentanyl spray, tripling it in 1 month. Her mother, Deborah.
You could be talking to her like we're doing right now, and she'd fall asleep.
Sitting in the chair.
Yeah, she would fall asleep on the toilet and then fall over and hit the bathtub. She kept saying, I feel like I'm dying. And I said, if that's how you feel, there's something wrong.
Something was wrong. 14 months after she started taking Subsys, Sarah was found dead on her bedroom floor.
What killed your daughter?
Well, technically, fentanyl, but a drug company who couldn't care less about a human life, and apparently a doctor who didn't either.
The attorney for Sarah's parents, Richard Hallowell, showed us FDA reports of possible Subsys-related complications.
This is the adverse events that were reported to the FDA. Now, these are only reported cases.
Including hundreds of deaths. Patty Nixon told us getting patients like Jeff and Sarah on higher and higher doses was all about money, too.
So a young woman whose story we're following, Sarah, she was started at 200, and within 20 days she was at 600.
Yeah, that's insane. But that was normal practice.
Because everybody at the company makes more money the higher the doses.
Everybody. Sales rep, me, the company. Yeah, because it's more expensive.
You know, I'm running out of words to describe how horrible this is.
And their bonuses were tied to how much and how big the doses were and how big the billing for the insurance company was.
You have to wonder how they slept at night, because they must have known they were killing people.
After 11 months on the job, Patty says she felt so guilty about what she was doing, she stopped going to work. The company fired her. A year later, in 2015, the FBI called. Patty says she told them and a grand jury everything she knew.
Her former boss, Elizabeth Guerreri, was arrested for fraud, but not charged. Though in December, the investigation led to the top of the company.
Spray the drug underneath their tongue.
CEO Michael Babich, who left in 2015, was charged with fraud, racketeering, and conspiracy. 5 other former top executives were also indicted for racketeering. They've all pleaded not guilty. As for Patty, she's dealing with fallout of her own.
Being a whistleblower has made it impossible, at least so far, to get a job.
It has. It's been very difficult and put quite a strain financially on myself and my family.
You have a 12-year-old daughter. How did you explain to her your decision to come forward?
Well, I just told her that people were hurt and somebody's got to stand up for them. And if we were in those situations, that we would want somebody to stand up for us.
The government says that along with the fraud, the conspiracy included hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes to doctors. 3 top prescribers have been convicted of taking bribes in exchange for writing prescriptions. Charges are pending against others. So do the doctors who were writing prescriptions for Subsys off-label, you would say to them what?
I would wonder whether or not they are doctors or drug dealers in white coats.
As for Jeff's doctor, Dr. William Tam, he was paid fees of $35,000 by Insys, but denies it influenced his decision to prescribe the drug. Jeff is suing his doctor, and Sarah's parents are suing hers, who whose license has been temporarily suspended. Both doctors deny responsibility. Jeff and Sarah's parents are also suing INSYS, which says it's not liable and not responsible for how doctors prescribe its product.
Even if you win a lawsuit, will it fix things for you?
No, it's not going to bring Sarah back. What it will do is take a company who only looks at their bottom line and maybe think twice that people's lives are more important than their bottom line.
As for the company's founder, Dr. John Kapoor, he doesn't face any charges, and he's still a major shareholder in the company.
We've reached out to Dr. Kapoor several times but have received no reply. So we've come here just outside Chicago to his office to see if he'll tell us what he thinks of the company he started. I'm Cynthia McFadden from NBC News. How are you? I'm looking for Dr. Kapoor, and I'm wondering if he's here today.
No, he's not in.
He's not in today? Do you have any idea how I could get in touch with him? Because we've written several letters, we've called, we haven't been able to reach him.
If you leave me his information, or your information, I will forward it over to him.
Do you happen to know where
No, we don't really want to allow cameras in here.
Okay.
Today, INSYS has a new CEO. The company told us in a statement it continues to cooperate with all ongoing investigations, is committed to complying with the laws and regulations that govern its products, as well as its sales and marketing practices, and continues to emphasize ethical behavior within its organization. As a company, INSYS Therapeutics is not facing criminal charges. It is still selling Subsys, $240 million worth last year. And even though the company has been under intense scrutiny, the FDA has approved it to sell a new drug, a medical marijuana spray.
Why have they not been shut down? Because more people are going to die, Cynthia. More people are going to get hurt. I'm sorry.
Do you feel responsible in some way?
Yes. And I just want to tell everybody out there who's been hurt, I am so sorry for any suffering or any pain, and for those families that visit their family member at the graveyard, and for those family members that see their loved ones going through the pain of addiction. I am sorry.